So on December 2nd, 1865, Mississippi creates a series of black codes. Now these codes are basically laws. Now these laws were mainly aimed at African Americans. And so here's some examples of some black codes. They could not leave their job until their boss told them to. They could not move to another place. They had to stay and keep paying the rent of where they're at, and they had to keep paying it no matter how high it went. And lastly, they couldn't own land. Now, if you really think about it, you have to work till your boss tells you you can leave. You can't move. You have to keep paying rent no matter how high it gets. So that means you can't save money, and you can't own anything. Um, that is basically slavery all over again. Now, here's the thing. There's a thing in this country called state rights. Okay, each state has different laws that they go through, and then there's federal laws, which is the government. Um, the thing is, some of these states' rights, these states' laws, um, they can get away with stuff. So Mississippi tries these black codes, and the federal government can't really do something about it. So other southern states, they join on the bandwagon, and they basically copy the same thing as Mississippi. Some even go a little step further. But the thing is, they try to do these black codes. Now, December 18th, 1865, the 13th Amendment is ratified, which means it is solid, it's in our Constitution, and it cannot be broken. Okay, so from December 18th, 1865 till now, slavery has been gone from this country. Now, the thing is, President Johnson, he condemned several people. Representative Thaddeus Stevens, who in the last video we talked about a little bit, Senator Charles Sumner, and Wendell Phillips. Now, he not only called them radical Republicans because of their stance for basically saying that how African Americans should not only be free, but they should have the vote, and they are basically, black people are equal to white people. Now, back then that was considered radical thinking. Nowadays we see it as, yeah, that's true. But back then it wasn't. It was radical thinking, and President Johnson condemned them as traitors to this country. Now, President Johnson vetoes this thing called the Civil Rights Bill of 1866. Now, you'll see this happen quite a bit. Johnson vetoes a lot of bills. And if you don't remember your vocabulary for this chapter, vetoes means to basically stop something or push it aside. Um, and I want you to remember this. The President of the United States is not all powerful. There are ways to go around his vetoes and his things he tries to put into policy and stuff like that. In our Constitution, there's ways to get around it. And when a president vetoes a bill, there are two ways to get it, through. One way is that 2/3 of the states in our country votes for it. That basically means in our country right now, 50 states, 33 states have to vote yes. The other way around it is that they do put it on a ballot in every state. And basically 66% of the country, of all the citizens who can vote, votes yes. Then that will become law. It overrides the veto of the president, and the president cannot veto again. Now, this civil rights bill basically said that African Americans would be given full citizenship as long as they were born in the United States. Now, that also means if they were born in the territories owned by the United States, then they could still be citizens. But unless you were born in somewhere like Cuba or back in Africa, then you could not be a citizen. But if you were born here, anywhere that the United States owned, you were a citizen. Now, like I just said like a minute ago, there are ways to go around the president's veto. And on April 6, 1866, the Senate and the House of Representatives overrides Johnson's vetoes, and the Civil Rights Act of 1866 passes. Now, several months later, there's this thing called the 14th Amendment that's going ahead through the Senate and the House of Representatives. Now, President Johnson and many Southern representatives didn't like it, and they tried to stop it, but it passed. Now, the 14th Amendment defines what a citizenship means in our country, and it's the first time that declares that African Americans are citizens. Now, what does that mean actually? It really means that African Americans were basically given federal protection, just like everybody else who are citizens of this country, federal protection against state and local laws that deny them their rights. Now, the only time that African Americans were ever mentioned in the Constitution before this time was in the 35th Compromise, in which they talked that slaves were 3/5 of a person. So for every 5 slaves, they would count them as 3 people, and that went in kind of respect to the power of the House of Representatives. So if you were with me in my class back at the beginning of this class last semester, you would remember this part. But just in case you weren't there, let me give you a little refresher. When our Constitution was being made, the people who were in the South who had slaves, they wanted the slaves to be counted as people, because the more people you have, the more power you have in the House of Representatives. Now, the people in the North, they didn't think this was fair because the slaves were basically going to be counted as people, but they weren't going to be treated as people. So that was a contradiction that the North was basically telling the South. How could you want them to be counted as people, but you don't treat them like people? They don't have laws and rights as people. You see them as property, but yet you want to count them as people when it favors you. And during this time, this is when we're having the Revolutionary War, so there was a lot of compromising, a lot of back and forth going on, and they finally agreed on 3/5. Now, with this amendment, the 14th Amendment, this eradicates and repeals the 3/5 clause. Now, what that means is that the South was now going to have more power in the House of Representatives. In one of the two branches in our Congress, they were going to have eventually a power hold on, because now there was more people to be counted in the South. Now, tying in with that last bit of information, here is your final question for this packet. With the South having more power in the House of Representatives, what do you think some issues that might come up in the future will be? So justify your answer. Now, I put a little thing on there just to remind you guys that each state has 2 members in the Senate. That's one of the 2 branches of the Congress. And the number of representatives for each state depends on its population. That's the other branch of Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate. Okay, now that the South is going to have one of those 2 branches basically in their pocket, is there any issues that you can see coming up when it comes to African Americans' rights, policies that are going to be passed, maybe even punishments that might happen to the South because of what happened during the Civil War? Do you think those will stop? So here's the writing prompt for you to help you out. I believe that since the South has more representatives, they will, and continue it on. Okay. Now that this is over, um, be sure your name's on your paper. And again, when you go into class, turn it into the basket. Do not give it to me. Do not put it on my desk. Chances are it will be lost in the shuffle of papers that I have there. Again, come into class, turn it into the basket. Now, with that being said, that's the end of this lesson. I will have another video shortly for the next section if you missed that class as well. Um, or if you just need to listen to it to prepare for the test that might be coming up, okay? Whatever it may be, all right? So just keep your eyes open for the videos, okay? And with that, I say you have a good day.